Well, hello, boys and girls. How are you? Are you doing okay today? I am doing great. Yes, and here we are to do another science lesson, of course. I mean, what else are we going to be doing? Science is what we always do. Anyways, we're going to do another lesson on erosion, but we're going to add another word today, okay? And we're also, even though last time we only looked at water, today we're going to add wind to that equation, okay? So let's look at the learning target so that we can know exactly what we are going to learn today, what we're going to explore today, okay? So the learning target today is I can recognize formations created by, I missed the by erosion, and I can explain how wind, water, and other forces can change the landscape of our planet. Actually, I want to add something else to the target there that I forgot to put. It's erosion, and we want to do another word today, which is weathering. Weathering. So erosion and weathering, and then comma, and I can explain how wind, water, and other forces can change the landscape of our planet. So let's read it one more time. I can recognize formations created by erosion and weathering, and I can explain how wind, water, and other forces can change the landscape of our planet. So two very important words today are erosion and weathering, okay? So last time we talked about erosion, but today we're going to add that word weathering, okay? And then we will be able to explain how it's that wind, water, and other forces can change the landscape of our planet. So last time we discussed water a lot, right? Water, and we discussed erosion. So today we're going to add wind, okay? And we might see some other things there, and also weathering, okay? So are you ready to start exploring? Are you? I am. Do you know what a sculpture is? A sculpture? A sculptor is the person that creates the sculpture. Well, there are many ways to do a sculpture, right? You can take a piece of wood, right, and carve it. And with a special tools, you can carve a specific figure out of that wood. Or you can take rock and with special tools carve out a person or an object, a flower, a butterfly. Also, you could put, well, let me not tell you anymore. I want you to watch a video of different sculptures around the world. And you're saying, but Mr. Broussard, this is not art class, this is science. Well, I want to make a connection, okay? So I want you to watch a video about 21 sculptures around the world that are super cool, all right? Let me show you what the link is. The link is Sculptures Around the World video, okay? Sculptures Around the World video. So click on that, and it should be a video that starts like that. "20 most amazing sculptures from around the world," okay? So how did those sculptures come to be? How were they created? Well, there had to be, right? I hope that you realize that there was a human who, through a process, created these sculptures with special tools. So a human created them, right? Last time we saw caverns, and we saw the Grand Canyon, and we saw a valley, okay? And those were created by water erosion. But these ones, they were created by a human. So they are forms, they took either metal or wood or rock, and they created, okay, a person created the sculptures. They had to be created. Now, I want you to look at another video And this has a different type of sculpture, okay? It is a video about a very famous place in our country. It is called, oh my God, I forgot. What is it? What is it? Oh, what is this famous place called? I went blank. Monument Valley. Monument Valley. I've been there. I took my kids when they were little. And I want you to think about the sculptures in this part of our country, in this part of our planet, okay? So just look at them. It's a beautiful place. So let me show you the link to this video. It's called Monument Valley Video, okay? And if you click on it, it's going to look like this. Like this, okay? With music, and it gives you a tour through that whole area. Pretty amazing place, huh? Lots of sculptures. Now, were these sculptures created by a human? Were they carved with special tools by a human? What do you think? Most of us realize, right, that unlike the first video that we watched, where there were sculptures of a fish and a human and different things like that, those were created by humans. And these ones were not created by a human. They were formed, and of course we know already what they were formed by. We already looked at last time that water has it's an incredible force on our planet, and it can carve out different figures. But not only water. Not only water. Remember that word in the learning target that we added? Wind, right? Wind. So like water, wind also has a huge impact on forming different I didn't want to say formations because forming formations, right? But yeah, creating formations on our planet, changing the landscape of our planet. So water and wind are super strong forces that change. They really change the landscape. Now, I want you to take a few minutes and write down in your notebooks, how do you think that wind creates land formations? How do you think that wind? So think about that valley, Monument Valley. How did wind? You already know how water did it, right? Because that was our lesson last time. But how does wind, how does the force of the wind, how does it create different formations on our planet? So pause the lesson and take a few minutes to write an explanation on how you think that wind forms all of this unique and interesting land formations on our planet. So how does wind create these formations? What do you write down? I cannot see your notebooks. I wish that I could, but I cannot. Okay? But before we move on, I want you to read an article, okay? Because there is another word that I want to add today to our discussion. We've been talking a lot about erosion, but if you remember, we added the word weathering. So weathering, okay, is part of our learning target today. To understand the difference between weathering and erosion, we're going to read an article and we're going to watch a video, okay? I mean, I'm sure you already have some ideas in your head already, since you already put on an explanation about how wind formed these different and unique land formations. So we are going to read an article, Erosion and Weathering Doc, okay? Erosion and Weathering, this article, okay? So you're going to have to read it on your own, and then we're going to come together to see if you understood what the difference between weathering and erosion is, okay? Pause the lesson and read the article. What do you think? Do you understand? So weathering is happening while the rock or the soil is right there. It's the breaking down of all of those particles by the wind and by the water, okay? And erosion is water or wind carrying all of those things away. Do you understand it? Well, if you didn't, then let's watch this video. It's actually called Weathering and Erosion. So open that video, pause the lesson, and that will give you a terrific explanation. So in your notebooks now, write an explanation about how erosion and weathering change the landscape. So now that you watched the video, that you read the article, that you know what erosion is and weathering. So weathering is what happens to the object, to the rocks when they are there, right? The breaking down while they're there. And then the erosion is how everything is carried by water or wind, all of those little pieces, right? So now write an explanation of how erosion and weathering change our landscape, okay? So you do that, and then the lesson is finished for today, all right? So how does erosion and weathering change the landscape? You should have about 5 or 6 sentences, okay, with examples of landforms that you have seen. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day. I will see you next lesson, okay? Remember, science is everywhere. Bye-bye.